Hello and welcome to the TMZ podcast. I'm Charlie Cotton.
I'm Charlie Neff.
And today we got like one of the better episodes we'll ever have because we have Neve from Catfish here to unpack the most craziest catfish story from 2025, which has turned into already the craziest catfish of 2026.
Yeah, so if you guys don't remember this story, basically last year, Brittany Ferlin thought that she was in an online relationship with rock star Ronnie Radke. And Brittany Ferlin, she is married to Tommy Lee. She said that her and Tommy were kind of having a rough patch in her marriage, which kind of sparked this alleged online romance with Ronnie Radke. Well, we thought it was all said and done. She was like, oh, well, I guess I got catfish because he said it wasn't him. However, she kicked off the new year coming back out with all the catfish stuff saying, you know what? It was Ronnie Radke. She is convinced that he was behind all these Snapchat / Instagram accounts luring her into a romance.
Now, I'm a pretty big Catfish fan. I watched Neve a lot growing up, and I got to say, this particular case hit me because A, it's two celebrities involved, 3 if you throw in Tommy Lee.
Yeah.
And B, is Ronnie Radke really catfishing as himself? I've never heard of someone catfishing as themselves and then saying, no, it's not me, it's someone playing me. It seems very bizarre. So when I saw him out in Hollywood the other day, he gave me one directive. Find Neve Schulman.
Yes, he wants Neve Schulman to come out of hiding and get on the case and prove his innocence. So joining us today, Neve Schulman from Catfish. Welcome, welcome.
Out of hiding, yes, indeed.
There you are in your beautiful apartment in New York City. We should have looked for you there all along.
I have. I've just been here waiting for you, but TMZ doesn't really do New York that much.
From time to time.
From time to time.
Where are the tour buses? I don't see. They don't come through my neighborhood here.
Yeah, we got to tell Harvey to get them out there.
Yeah, bit of bad news about the New York tour. It ended 10 years ago.
Oh, no.
But you're not really doing Catfish anymore. But which makes this all the more interesting that you're sort of like, this is a bit of a comeback story. Are you doing real estate agent stuff right now?
I'm doing a lot of stuff. So for one, we're still actively looking for and have a lot of interest in a new home for Catfish.
Okay.
The show is more needed than ever before, as we can see.
Yeah.
Especially with AI and just the continued sort of involvement of the internet when it comes to people meeting each other. So we're hopefully getting close to finding the next sort of home for the show.
Wow.
But we're also talking about doing some specials, sort of mini documentaries or limited series about specific issues. And it's starting to feel like this Brittany Ronnie story could be perfect for a 3 or 4 part Netflix special, or who knows.
I feel like we kind of made it happen.
I feel like we're the driving. I love that.
Yes.
Because the reason it's so interesting is Charlie, really believes Ronnie's side of the story.
Yeah.
And I kind of am inclined to believe Brittany's side. So the fact that you can have one case where people can see it from completely different perspectives is intriguing.
Totally.
So Neve, have you looked? Sorry, have you looked at this story? Have you looked at the evidence? What are your thoughts on this?
Okay, I have thoughts. So first of all, I remember when the story kind of broke last year, and I was getting a lot of mentions and messages to sort of weigh in, and I respectfully chose to stay out of it. I didn't have an opinion. It didn't strike me as something that I could objectively and with any kind of meaningful contribution add to.
Right.
Now it's come up again, and I've decided to take a little bit of a look into it just to see kind of what's the story, what's going on here. Now, I have a very unique position as it relates to the story because I've known Brittany since she was first on Vine,
really?
Back in whatever that was, 2008 or 9 or 10 or whatever that was. Or maybe it was a little after that, but whatever. I've been friends with her for a long time. I've also been friends with Soraya now since she co-hosted an episode of Catfish with
Oh,
me,
Ronnie's ex.
like 2 years ago. So I know both of the sort of key female figures in this story,
Yeah.
personally, and in the last 24 hours have spoken to both of them.
Really? Oh, okay.
On the phone. Yeah.
Okay. Oh my God. I'm so in. I'm so interested in what you say.
Because I have, right. So, because, look, my whole thing is don't assume, don't guess, get the information firsthand, find out from the source.
Okay.
So, Charlie, when you reached out to me and I had seen some stuff online about the story and that Ronnie had been saying, get Neve on the case, I immediately called Brittany. Then I called Soraya and just wanted to sort of hear from them, like, what is and isn't happening? What is true? What was your experience? What are people getting right? What are people getting wrong?
Mm-hmm.
And most of the information obviously came from Brittany. And I have to say, like, I don't know or care about what her relationship or reasons for her relationship with Ronnie would have been. But it seems to me that she would have much rather kept this whole thing private, that the relationship she had with Ronnie, whether you believe it was really him or not, wasn't something that she was looking to make public or talk about. He apparently, and again, this is a detail I'm not super clear on, but was the one who kind of mentioned it and made it into a thing.
And the reason why for that, Neve, just to kind of fill you in, is because Ronnie has been saying that on his real account, he would see Brittany commenting like on his stories, like, commenting about how hot he looks. And so he was seeing all these messages and being like, oh, okay, that's, but not responding. But then he got a DM from her saying, outside your house, ? To which he saw that and was like, what the heck? But didn't respond. He didn't go public with it until he got, we're told, threatening message from Tommy Lee being like, hey, man, like, you're with my girl, like, all upset. And so that's when Ronnie was like, what the heck? No, I'm not. And he went public with everything because Tommy Lee was, kind of blasting him on social media.
Sure. And that as a story does kind of make sense, which is why initially I was like, if you want to believe him, sure, there's a story there that kind of checks out. And on the other side, Brittany's said many things and is, so convinced that she was talking to him because of Snapchat correspondence where apparently he was sending her, video Snapchats in real time in response to things that they were talking about that showed him.
And Ronnie's response to that is that AI.
Or also has been taken from his actual accounts by fans and repurposed on fake accounts.
Sure. Yeah. So again, my take here is because I'm not going, I haven't done any kind of formal investigation. It's hard to even get any kind of receipts from this type of stuff because if it was Snapchat stuff, it's gone. If there's no screenshot or if there's, it's like you'll never really know for sure. I'm just going based on the characters involved. And I know Brittany, and obviously, she's a public figure. She's someone who is a performer. She's got a big personality. But I think that at her core, she's a genuine person who, at least from what I know about her, has a track record and history of being a nice person. I don't think there's a wake of sort of emotional or relationship sort of mess and disaster that sort of trails behind her. And I also know Soraya, and similarly, I think she's a genuinely good person. And I don't know Ronnie personally, but from what I've heard from both of these women, and I'm inclined to believe the women, he may not be the most trustworthy, caring, and truthful, honest guy. So I'm just going to say that if I had to choose who's telling the truth here and who's more likely to be, using this whole situation to benefit them, even if it means it comes at the cost of others, I'm inclined to sort of side with Brittany.
Ooh.
Very interesting.
Well, but to Ronnie's point, because you are acknowledging you haven't spoken with him, right? So you're kind of getting a one-sided viewpoint. But to Ronnie's point, he's very open about saying, look, I can see why people would not believe me. I am a troll. I am out there for sure. However, I promise this was not me. And also another thing too, he did go to court. He did, try to get a restraining order, which was denied, not because it wasn't, real or anything, but because, the judge felt it wasn't, an emergency hearing wasn't needed, which, by the way, there is a hearing coming up later this month. And, I think a lot of people would say a guilty person wouldn't go that far because it could expose themselves if they're lying.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, my sense is, and again, I'm not saying who is or isn't telling the truth here, but if Ronnie wasn't involved with this, and this is some sort of big mistake, it feels like he could have pretty easily cleared it up, privately with Brittany and Tommy, and potentially even made himself available to be helpful in finding out who it really was. And so what I don't understand is why it became such a conflict, why there's this ongoing feud, why Ronnie continues to, to some degree, fan the flames. And I understand some people say Brittany's sort of doing the same thing, but if it just seems strange to me that this continues to be an issue when, if Ronnie's telling the truth, wouldn't he want to just be cooperative and sort of squash this as quickly as possible so that it no longer kind of sheds a negative light on either of them?
See, that was my, there's different sort of evidence we can weigh out from this digital fingerprint here and la la. But my overall impression was, after all of this has gone down and Brittany's very sort of embarrassed and hurt, Ronnie does a 17-part TikTok series about it. Right. He starts selling merch with Brittany featured on it. It's if someone is feeling guilty, sometimes they overdo it and it's almost like gaslighting or trying to sort of it wasn't me, so I'm going to prove it wasn't me, but so strongly. Whereas I was wouldn't you have a heart for someone who has been duped in such a way and embarrassed? Wouldn't you sort of try to sort of not expose them and embarrass them any further? That was my overall, he seems kind of mean to keep kicking her when she's down.
Well, yeah, it's also the classic, story of an arsonist who, after they set fire to a building, comes to watch the fire department put the fire out and asks what happened, So again, I don't know, but based on things that have been said and whether they're rumors or how much truth there is to them about Ronnie and his past dating and relationship life. And, look, my sense is at a certain age, a certain point in your life, you start making decisions that are bigger than yourself. You hopefully become more aware of the sort of ripple effect that you might have, and hopefully make decisions that don't hurt yourself and don't hurt other people. And it just feels like in this case, both of them to some degree, but especially Ronnie, seems to be really enjoying the continued drama and attention that this story is getting. And maybe it is beneficial for him for it to continue being in the press. I don't know.
So you don't
but I know it's not something that Brittany wants. So it just seems like it could go away easily if they both could just be adults about it and let it go.
But to Ronnie's point, the reason why he's been so vocal about it, well, number one, she was the one that had commented on a TikTok this year, reviving everything. So to Ronnie's point, he's trying to clear his name. He's trying to prove his innocence. And, you know, he has said that he is a big fan of Tommy Lee. It's not something he would do. He has said he's not attracted to Brittany Furlan.
He said actually,
has got to sting her.
Well, I mean, he said in such explicit terms how unattracted he is to her in such a kind of a cruel way that it's like, why do you have to like say you think she looks like that? Like you needn't say, you can just like, she's not my type. That's it. Leave it. But it's kind of the way he doubles down makes me go like, why are you being so like this?
You think that he's trying to cover up?
That's what I think he's trying to. Yes, that's what I think.
But look, from what I've seen, there's no clear-cut evidence. I don't know. I personally believe Ronnie's side. I personally do. I feel like for me, there's no clear-cut evidence that this was in fact him.
I agree. I don't think there's a smoking gun. Ronnie was that account, you know, case closed. But, you know, I think that if this was if it was up to Neve and you go, I think it's probably this.
Right. I mean, look, when we have Catfish on the show and we sit them down and we ask them questions and they answer those questions, you never know if you can believe them because this is someone that you know for a period of months or years has been lying very convincingly. So how can you ever know if someone you know has lied is lying or telling the truth? And all I know from what I've heard, but firsthand, is that Ronnie lies. He's lied to people he loves. He's lied multiple times. And I'm not in any way judging him for that. I myself have been dishonest in relationships, so I'm not holier than thou. But I'm just saying, like, if we have to look at his track record and determine whether or not he's trustworthy or not, based off of just that, I think the answer is he's not. So that doesn't mean he's guilty of this, but it means that you can't really know. You can't trust him just because he says it wasn't him.
Got it.
Right.
Do you think, too, that celebrities are a huge target for catfishers as well these days? It's so, like, I know here as a reporter, there's so many people that call in. They're like, I've been in a 6-year relationship with George Clooney. And I'm like, ma'am. And
don't tell Amal, though. Don't tell Amal.
I know.
It's always like that, right?
Totally. And they always will say, like, well, I'll say, he's married to Amal Clooney. And then they'll say, well, George told me it's just a PR stunt. Quote, George told me.
Right.
So do you find that, a lot of celebrities are targets for, fooling other people? I mean, usually it's like they're trying to get money, right? In this case, for Brittany and this, alleged person, whoever it may be, it doesn't seem like there was any kind of transaction for like scammer money or anything like that.
I thought that this all transpired in the first place because maybe there was an initial sort of online attraction between the two of them. I actually think they're both each other's types. They're both into rocky looking, girls and guys. And that's what they both fit each other's profile. So I think maybe it started with messaging each other just subtle little things. And then someone wanted to back out.
Well, we did an episode about a major news story that took place between a Instagram model and a basketball player. This guy Birdman, who used to play on the Denver Nuggets, and this girl Paris, who's now, you might have heard of her. She's married to that folk singer who's much, much older. Anyway, someone else, another girl who lived in Canada, saw that the girl had commented on the basketball player's Facebook page saying, like, you're so hot. And so then she made an account for the basketball player that looked like his private account and messaged her and said, hey, I saw your comment. I wanted to message you, and ended up communicating between the girl and the basketball player without them realizing it, sending messages, through her to each of them and getting them to actually meet up in person, having never actually communicated with each other directly.
Oh.
anyway, and the story gets even more complicated because then when it got weird and they didn't want to see each other anymore, she was angry because she wanted them to keep talking and ended up trying to blackmail the basketball player.
Oh my
And when
God.
he refused to pay her, told the police that he had slept with a minor because she had lied to him about how old the girl was. And then that basketball player, the FBI raided his house and he lost his job. It was like a huge deal.
Sounds like a great episode.
I know.
It was a great episode. But maybe what happened here is that there was some flirtation. Maybe Britney posted, mentioned something or liked a picture of Ronnie's or who knows what. And that some other person saw that and was like, ooh, Britney maybe has a crush on Ronnie. Let me make a fake Snapchat and message her pretending to be Ronnie. Now, that I would say seems impossible, but it has happened.
So you're
otherwise, but the reason I bring that up is because why would someone make a fake Snapchat for Ronnie Radke, who, in his own right is obviously a known person. I hadn't heard of him before, but I'm not in that music genre. I'm not a fan of that music. But what a weird and specific thing to make that and to like get in touch with. It just like seems very random to me.
I know that money isn't the goal. Money wasn't the goal of it. Like, then what was the goal? Like, just to fuck with this girl, or
to maybe, I mean, I don't know what was sent back and forth, but if you are vulnerable and you think you're in a romantic relationship, you could send explicit photos. You could send,
Sure.
So look,
her, maybe?
It's possible this person was just a perv wanting to get Britney in like a sexy situation.
True. Could I ask also just about AI and catfish in general? Because, I think that catfishing is something that's definitely here to stay, even more so because of AI. You can't believe anything you see. Anyone can pretend to be anyone. Is that going to make your job, say Catfish lands at another network, that's going to make your job a whole lot harder, huh?
Yeah, I mean, for sure, because now there's really no, I mean, someone sends you a text message that says like, all right, if you're real, send me a picture of you standing on one foot with a basketball on your head and holding a spatula. Like, you can literally copy paste that text, put it into like Sora, and it'll make that,
Totally.
Right. It's hard.
So it's definitely hard. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen now that you can generate convincing, realistic looking photos and video of anyone doing anything. Because it totally changes the whole approach to this. Now, obviously, hopefully there'll be better technology now. There's actually this app that I'm working with called Mozo, which basically scans like any text message or photo or video that you get to see if it's legit or if it's like connected to a scam or if it's AI. So there are some tools that are coming, up now that I'm sure hopefully will get better. But it's scary. Who knows what's going to happen or how we're going to be able to tell reality from imaginary fake lies.
Totally.
Which is a reason why we need you more than ever.
Yes.
So, Neve, just to break it down, your initial gut feeling on the whole Britney Furlan, Ronnie Radke catfishing thing is you are seemingly siding with Britney on this.
I'm going to, because again, I don't want to assume or say directly that Ronnie's lying. I don't know him. I don't know the details of the case that well. I am going to use, and perhaps even a bit obnoxiously, I'm going to just go with the believe the woman side of this, because I think in a lot of cases, women just are not listened to or believed enough when it comes to situations of this nature. And so because I know Britney, and I think I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm believing her.
Very good, man. Well, we appreciate you coming on. Yes, Charlie?
I appreciate you coming on as well. And, it's always so interesting to hear what you have to say on this. I know everyone's been calling for your opinion. Are you open to, I know you mentioned like you're talking about documentaries. This could be one of those topics. Are you open to doing something on this? And would you want to speak with Ronnie to kind of close that loop?
Yes. So in response to Ronnie, because again, I do appreciate him kind of summoning my spirit, the ghost of Catfish past.
Yeah.
I would love nothing more. And TMZ, if you want to produce this, we should talk. Let's make a full investigative series. We'll go through the whole thing. We'll interview everyone involved who wants to participate. We'll see if we can get some data from Snapchat or whatever we can, and let's do it. Let's do the story. Let's make a full on Catfish investigative report.
Wow,
I love it. I love it
too. This was best case scenario, like ending to the episode. Let's fucking produce this thing.
Absolutely.
Well, Neve, man, love ya. Thank you very much for coming on board. This was a very interesting chat. It's great to speak to an expert. We've been like racking our brains for weeks about what is going on here. So it's nice to have you weigh in.
Absolutely, Neve. And I'm so curious if by, the end of this, maybe you'll change your mind.
Oh.
Yeah, well, that's one of my favorite things about making Catfish was you go into every episode assuming that the person that you're going to find is a monster or is that this terrible liar who has no excuse and you'll never like. And for me, many times I meet them and I realize this person's not so bad. Like, yeah, they made some mistakes or they didn't make the best decisions, but they have a real life and they have a backstory. And if you can get to know them and give them a chance to explain themselves, you end up liking them. So I go into every situation very open-minded and objectively. And in this case, it's no different. I haven't had the opportunity to speak to Ronnie. I would love to hear what he has to say. And I think, my goal would be to resolve this so that everyone can get some closure, move on with their lives, and we can all enjoy finding out collectively what actually happened and hopefully get some answers.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you very much, Neve. Thank you, Charlie Neff.
Thank you, Charlie Cotton.
Thanks for joining our podcast, everyone, and we will catch you next week.
Bye.
Awesome,
Wow,
Neve.
that was amazing.
That was fucking good,
That was
man.
such a great breakdown.
Yeah.
By the way, Neve. Can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Oh, okay.